So when it comes to my personal history with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I grew up playing Super Nintendo's Turtle in Time in arcades or at my friend's house on his SNES. Still to this day, every time I come across this game in an arcade, I have to play it. I didn't grow up watching the 80s Turtles cartoon show. I grew up with the 2003 TMNT series. I think it's the best Turtles animated show ever. When it comes to the movies and my actual introduction to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, it was the live action trilogy from the 90s that got me into it. I still love that trilogy, and the very first film I still argue and consider the greatest TMNT movie ever made. I know a lot of people don't like the sequel, Secret of the Ooze, but come on, that nightclub scene with Vanilla Ice birthed one of the greatest Ninja Turtle songs ever. Like, come on, you can't tell me that isn't great. Comment down below what got you into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. I'd love to know. Anyways, now with my personal history with these awesome turtles out of the way, let's dive into the story of the original Turtles. So, I was going to cover the first volume of this series, but the first issue really is the perfect jumping off point into it. When it comes to the first issue of TMNT, it was initially meant to be a standalone story, a parody of the Daredevil comics that Eastman and Laird were devout fans of. But little did they know that this satirical amazing gem would propel into a vast franchise. The story opens with the Turtles, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael going up against this gang called the Purple Dragons, the toughest gang on the east side of New York. This is actually their first real battle. Now, this gang is attacking them just because they came onto their turf. They don't know that these are actual mutant turtles. They think it's just a group of guys in turtle costumes. The turtles attack, and one thing to know here is they don't have their own individual colored headbands. What you'll notice too is that they don't have their own distinct personalities just yet. They don't have it on display. They're more uniform and act as a unit. Their distinct personalities come about as we continue on covering this series. We'll be able to see it more and more. A vicious unit they are, I might add here, because while fighting this gang, they don't hold back. Now, they don't murder any of these guys, but they do make these guys bleed. Very different from the Turtles most of us grew up with. They successfully defeat the gang. Once the police show up, the Turtles head for the sewer. The Turtles find Master Splinter and tell him of their victory. Splinter proclaims this victory proves they are ready to learn about the mission he has trained them for these past 13 years. This is where we're going on a deep dive into Splinter's, the Turtles, and Shredder's origin. Master Splinter begins with his origin. This is one of the parts in this issue that was adapted into the first live action film. He explains that 20 years ago, he was a pet of Hamato Yoshi, a master in the art of ninjutsu and the greatest warrior in his clan. He watched his master training in his dojo and slowly began to mimic and learn his art of ninjutsu. Hamato Yoshi's clan was the Foot Clan, the deadliest and most feared warriors and assassins in all of Japan. His rival in the clan was Oroku Nagi. They both competed in everything, even for the love of a woman named Tang Shen. Shen ended up choosing Yoshi. One night, Oroku Nagi in a jealous rage raided their home when Yoshi wasn't there. He demanded Shen love him, but when she refused, he beat her. Yoshi, returning home, discovered this. At that moment, his fury overwhelmed him, and he beat Oroku Nagi to death. Killing another member of the clan brought shame to his name. Instead of committing seppuku so he could gain honor in the next life, he chose to leave Japan with Shen and start a new life. They moved to New York and Yoshi formed a martial arts school. For those of you who don't know what seppuku is, it's a form of ritual suicide that originated with Japan's samurai warrior class. It involves stabbing oneself in the belly with a short sword and slicing open the stomach. Some samurai chose to die slowly that way, but often they would enlist the help from what was called a kashakunin, I hope I pronounced that correctly, someone who would lop off their head with a katana as soon as they made their initial cut. It's crazy, but this is why I love Japanese history. As Yoshi and Shen started their new life, in Japan, Nagi's 7-year-old brother, Oroku Saki, vowed vengeance on Yoshi. He joined the Foot Clan and went through intensive training. He soon surpassed his teachers, and as he grew older, his hatred for Yoshi grew deeper. At 18, he was chosen to be the head of the Foot Clan's New York branch. In a year, Saki turned it into a force to be reckoned with. They were involved in many criminal activities, from drug smuggling to assassination. Saki, now called Shredder, was successful, but his hunger for vengeance is all he wanted. One night, Saki tracked down Yoshi and Shen. He invaded their home and killed them both. During the struggle though, Splinter's cage was smashed open. This is similar to the first TMNT movie, except Oroku Saki was the rival, and after Splinter's cage was smashed, he attacked Saki and left a scar on his face, and Saki responded by slicing his ear off. That doesn't happen here. After he was set free, Splinter wandered the streets after Yoshi's death, living off scraps of garbage for a while, until one day, a blind man crossing the street was almost hit by a truck. At the last moment, a young man pushed him out of the way and the truck came to a stop. A canister bounced out of the truck and hit the young man. It bounced off his head and ended up smashing a young boy's jar of turtles. They fell down into a manhole, their fall broken by a pile of leaves. This entire incident is paying homage to Daredevil's origin, where in his origin, Matt was the young man who pushed an old man out of the way who was about to be hit by a truck. Chemicals from the truck spilled onto him, turning him blind, but in the process making his other senses superhuman. Now Splinter followed the turtles down the manhole and discovered they were covered in glowing ooze from the canister that we'll eventually learn is from TCRI. He wiped off as much of the ooze as he could and collected them in a coffee canister. The next morning, he discovered they had doubled in size and later saw it had also affected him as well. But Splinter didn't grow as fast as the turtles. Within a year, they grew to the size they are now, and eventually they stood upright and started speaking. He named them, as we all know, using a Renaissance art book, naming them after the 4 great Renaissance artists: Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael. Splinter soon started training the turtles in the art of ninjutsu. In time, they surpassed the lessons and became true ninjas. Splinter reveals the mission that he has trained them for is to avenge his master Hamato Yoshi and his wife Tang Shen. He wants them to challenge and kill Oroku Saki, kill the Shredder. The following night, Raphael is the one who's chosen to deliver the message, issuing a challenge to Shredder. He stealthily enters the Foot's territory and takes out some guards. He delivers the message to Shredder by throwing his side through a window. Shredder reads the message and ends up accepting the challenge. The following night, Shredder meets the turtles on a rooftop, but he doesn't come alone. He brought the elite guard of his Foot Ninja clan with him, and they launch an attack on the turtles. This scene is so badass. The turtles are not holding back. They are landing fatal blows on the Foot Ninjas. They take them down quick, fast, and in a hurry until they finally come face to face with the Shredder. He says, "Come one at a time or all at once. I don't care. For only I will leave here alive." Now, this is similar to the first TMNT film, where the turtles came face to face with the Shredder on the rooftop. Just like the film, each one of the turtles goes head to head with the Shredder. The first to charge at him, like in the film, is Raphael. Shredder dodges his attack and slices Raphael with his arm blades. Second, Donatello. He's quickly beaten back. And finally, Michelangelo. He's able to land a blow, but he gets tossed. The Shredder doesn't wait for Leonardo's turn. He charges toward him, but Leonardo responds with his dual katana slicing Shredder's chest. What the turtles do next really shows they are a lot more of a highly capable team already in their early years when compared to all the early years of the other iterations of turtles. Leo realizes that one-on-one, he and his brothers are no match for Shredder. He orders them to strike Shredder from a distance. The turtles throw shuriken and knives at him. Raphael throws his sai at him, using them as a distraction. He gets up close and starts beating down Shredder in hand-to-hand combat. Donatello gets in and lands some hits, but Shredder strikes back. He leaps toward Leonardo, who outmaneuvers him and impales him with his katana. Shredder tells the turtles to finish him off, but Leo responds, they are not dogs without honor. He offers Shredder a chance to redeem his honor by offering his katana to commit seppuku with. Shredder yells never. He pulls out a thermite grenade, attempting to kill himself and the turtles with him, but Donatello quickly throws his staff like a spear, striking Shredder right in the face and knocking him and the grenade off the rooftop. The grenade goes off in a big flash of light. When the turtles come down from the rooftop into the street, all they find is Shredder's gauntlet burnt and melted. The turtles assume he has fallen. As Leo puts it, the Shredder has been shredded. That's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to continue covering the original Turtles. I will say this, next up, the Turtles meet April, fight robots, and eventually head into space. Other than that, please hit that like button, subscribe if you are new here, and always remember every day to cowabunga and go beyond. See you later, dudes.